All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA Show. So what I want today's podcast to be about is hanging out with people who inspire you. And I think a lot of times we kind of, I can't say take for granted, but sometimes we kind of become to a point where we just get exhausted, I think. And that could be for friends, family members, or colleagues, right? I get it 100%. You just get spent. You get sick of hearing the same voices you've heard throughout your life. And, you get to a point, too, a lot of times you're like, you don't want to make new friends, right? Sometimes, which that's not easy, too. A lot of times you're like, I got enough friends, right? Or I got enough family members, or I got enough of everything. I work with enough people. But I remember I was in Chicago when we were at dinner once in where were we, Park. One of my buddies runs our joint out there, a restaurant, and a bunch of us gathered there. And he was running for to be the mayor of one of the towns, and then he also owns businesses and this and that. And everybody kept questioning, why would you do that? What are you doing this? And then I just said, because his energy kind of leads him that way. And he said, Rich, that just sums it up. You know what I mean? To a certain degree, yeah, my energy is leading me this way. But what was interesting being around him, and I haven't been around him too much, he actually helped me with one of my films, is like he was very inspirational, and I missed hanging out with him. But I'm like, and this goes for a lot of people, sometimes we fall out of touch is what I should say with a lot of people too. Even though we see him on Facebook, or we may see him on Instagram, the truth is, I think a lot of us only hang out with a few people, especially if you're kind of middle-aged or if you have kids eventually. You're not doing, now don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean you're not with your friends or you don't see them, you don't go to restaurants, you go to dinners. I'm not saying that. And that's great. But sometimes you just got to, I think, get around people, and it could be new people that kind of inspire you. And it can be any age. I have my engineer who's a young guy, Omar, who helps me with a lot of my stuff. And he inspires me, and I like being around him. I made a new friend, Robert, who we do a podcast together. He co-hosts with me, and he kind of inspires me now, And then even my webmaster, who I've had for a long time, Rohale, he inspires me sometimes, and he's funny. He makes me feel better. And even my graphic artists or people I've dealt with, even in the past in my films, regarding the film industry, it could be other people that I've worked with in the past that I don't work with anymore, even from different countries that I've worked with or friends, obviously different cities and states, and I communicate with them, and they inspire me, man. I'm telling you, and the more I'm around them or talk with them, the better I kind of feel. And I think for long periods of time, I was quite the opposite, especially when I was kind of writing my books or like at certain times, even living in California. I mean, I would bop in and out of LA and San Fran and everywhere for that matter. But I was kind of way solo. I'm kind of very introverted and extroverted. But I'm telling you, if you kind of find yourself kind of falling in a rut, or you're just not yourself, or you're kind of bored, and a lot of times too, I'm going to say this, a lot of times we get around a lot of people who are similar to ourselves. Could be at the workplace again. I don't care if you're in college. I don't care where you're at or what you're doing. We kind of only hang with those people. Sometimes you just, and here's the thing too, I should say, sometimes we think say you want to become wealthier. You start hanging out with wealthier people, right? You think that's going to inspire you. That's not always the case. I'm here to tell you. Sometimes it is, but a lot of wealthy people that I've hung out with, which is, a lot of them are wonderful. I just don't click with them. A lot of my closest friends are lawyers in the city of Chicago, have their own firms, great guys, and I would hang out with them and their lawyer friends, and believe me, these guys were great people. But I realized I'm nothing like them. And instead of being inspired, I would kind of be deflated because they're very particular and they're very argumentative and they're very educated and knowledgeable. I'm not saying they're not fun, but they were just, it's just like anything else. Same with I have friends that were doctors and nurses and things. And even still one of my closest friends, I get around them and listen, I'm sure they inspire each other. But after talking about sickness and all that, I felt exhausted. And, sometimes you just got to find the right people for you. You may have not even met them, and that may be up to you to go find them. But I'm telling you, again, being around people that are very inspirational, and they don't have to be wealthy. They don't have to be poor. It could be somebody that works at Office Depot for all I know, or you could meet that can inspire you for the day. Or it could just be somebody, once in a while that if you go to a certain Starbucks, they work all the time. And I ran into a guy like that not long ago. He was super cool, and we're talking. And I was just thinking, wow, it's just different sometimes to be around people that, that you're in sync with, and there's some camaraderie there, and there's just something that's unique. Don't blow that shit off, is what I should say as well. And a lot of times I get, even I would say with family members and stuff, sometimes we may not realize that we're the Debbie Downer. We're the asshole. Sometimes I think we look at other family members or even friends going, man, that guy, who gives a the way he behaves? Who cares? He don't this or that. You got always something to say. But you know what? Maybe it's you. Are you inspiring others? Or are you deflating them? Are you fun to be around? Or are you an asshole? No one ever thinks about themselves a lot of times like that. But they are. I mean, some people know it. And if you want to be that way, you're more welcome to it. But I really think if you're around people that, inspire you, and you, in turn, can inspire others, I don't know what's better than that, in my opinion. And I, for one, always want to be kind of somebody who I enjoy, I want people to enjoy being around me, and I want to enjoy being around them. And that doesn't mean I'm out to change anybody, and that doesn't mean that doesn't also mean I'm going to always have the greatest time with everyone I'm with. But I definitely make it a point to be around people, like I said, that really, I guess, just give me a boost, help me with stimulate my brain, have great conversations. And believe me, it's not just about praise. It's also about giving me feedback, honest feedback. Something's repetitive or something doesn't sound right, or you should do this or you should try that. And a lot of times maybe I do want to hear it, maybe I don't, but at least I know I have people around me that I think are honest and genuine, that really are looking out for my best interest. And I always try to do the same. So I just thought I would do a podcast on this. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, just check out my, since this is my podcast, my YouTube channel, Rich CELENZA. I also have a website, richcelenza.com. I've been putting a lot of different things on my YouTube page regarding not only fitness, but wardrobe, hygiene, and many other things. And I used to travel a lot. I never mentioned that. And I try to help people, or help men, I should say, live an incredible life affordably. And I kept saying, I'm trying to help men buy a certain type of wardrobe, save money, or buy cars, or buy even a home or whatever. I'm not a financial advisor. I just don't want them to get taken advantage of. But I was thinking, I originally started a lot of this with travel, and I don't talk about it anymore. But talk about if you want to inspire yourself, maybe you may be in a rut, stuck going to the same places over and over and over again, and you're looking for a change, but the reality is you never change because you don't want change. But if you are looking to maybe get just a different vibe going and being inspired by others, traveling is the way, I think, to go to a certain degree. That does not mean you have to be a world traveler. That doesn't even mean you have to travel all over the United States. I think people always try to say, I got to go here, I got to go there. Yeah, if you got to go there, you got to go there. But even traveling within your own state or city, because there's probably a lot more out there that you've never discovered, even though you may have lived there for long periods of time. And I just did a podcast, or it may have been a video. No, it was a podcast saying be a tourist in your own city. Now, I get a lot of people may not live in that big of towns that have that much going on. Then again, break out of there a little bit. But just again, by being in a different city, a different town, different type of people, different restaurants, different environments just in general, for me, that inspires me. When I travel, I always, for the most part, I always wanted to try something new, I tell people. That goes for fitness too. Every day, even though I had a lot of local or regular spots all over North America, I'd go to my favorite restaurants, Italian restaurants, smoothie, coffee houses. I also tried to always incorporate something new in there, because it was either actually a lot of times it'd be good. Sometimes it wasn't that good. But it would inspire me to just, by trying something new, made me think about doing something new. So it was kind of this huge creative process. It's like the landscape of my life. If I kept painting the same picture, how much enthusiasm would I have? But by me going and like every day would be a whole different picture I would be drawing because I was living an entirely different kind of experience. So if you are kind of bogged down, I thought that might be interesting to try. Anyways, I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And always experiment. I'm telling you, man, experiment. That's where it's at. All right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.